down here texting people. He's telling me I gotta get up and talk. I don't even know what's happening. How many of you have already seen the safety and security video, right? So, like almost everybody. Okay, so since most of you have already seen it, take a nap during this next part. Mike said that there were some people that hadn't seen it, so we're gonna show it again. So you get about a 15-minute nap if you've already seen it. Begin now. Hello, and welcome to the Emergency Response Plan Overview. For a couple years, I reminded you that you have choices. When faced with an emergency situation, you have to assess the circumstances before you make a decision. In short, you have to decide if you should stay or you should go.
Should I stay or should I go?
Okay, I promise there won't be any dancing or whatever that was in this video. But I would still encourage you to hold on to this fundamental question. Should I stay or should I go? Now, as we review our options, I want you to remember that I attempt to present these topics in a way that makes them memorable. In no way do I mean to make light of difficult concepts. Assessing what's around you and then deciding what step to take next is vital. So this time around, as you are making your decision to stay or go, you need to remember, stay off the Okay, I promise no dancing. When determining what action you are going to take, you must think about how to avoid the bad thing, the danger, if at all possible. We choose one of our stay options if something is happening outside our rooms or workspaces that is dangerous, if something is happening outside the building that could be dangerous, or if other circumstances dictate staying. Severe weather or police situations occurring in the community are examples of events that would keep you in the building. A disturbance happening in the hallway would be a time you would want to stay in your room or workspace. Remember that our stay responses include shelter in place. This means allowing only people we know into our buildings. An example would be your mail carrier that comes at the same time every day, and you know this person. They can come in. Secure rooms. No one in or out of the rooms that have been secured. Our severe weather, tornado shelter areas, and the hide option of a lockdown response round out our stay options. When we do these things, we stay off the obvious situations when you should go are conditions within our buildings that make the building dangerous to inhabit. A fire, a chemical spill, or a serious water leak as examples. When it comes to fire alarms, I'm going to encourage you to change one small thing that could have a huge impact. When the fire alarm sounds and flashes, many of us move toward the exit without really thinking of anything else. I encourage you to consider the following before walking toward the exit. Evaluate before you evacuate. Take just a few seconds to ensure the direction you are heading is safe. This way, you stay off the
The editors have determined that subjecting you to another image of a flyboy wannabe could be considered unkind. Now back to the video.
For years, we have used the term lockdown when referring to our active threat response. That term has evolved over the years from something that was a single option response to the way we use it today. Our current definition of lockdown means you have options. You have choices when an emergency arises. These options include run, hide, or fight. Remember that the hide option is still statistically extremely safe. Knowing that, we must be prepared to implement a different response or to change our initial response depending on the circumstances we face. I have said this several times in various settings, and I want to be sure we all keep it in mind. Your body can't go where your mind hasn't been. This means you need to consider scenarios before something bad happens, and think about how you will respond. Our two fundamental concepts should be at the forefront of your decision making. I need to stay away from danger, and to accomplish that, should I stay or should I go? Let's briefly review each lockdown option. Hide. Sweep the hallway for others if it is safe to do so. Close and lock your door. Place your window covering over the hallway windows and turn out the lights. Move you and your students to an area out of view of the room's windows. That's often referred to as the deep corner of the room. Remain in that condition until the circumstances require a change or until you are released by administration or law enforcement. Run. If you are near an exterior door or an exterior window and the circumstances indicate, you may choose to run. Should this option be your choice, give clear instructions to the students in your care and move away from danger. As you move, be sure to assess what's in front of you to ensure it is safe. While your temporary shelter site is a good place to consider, know that anywhere safe is an acceptable destination when choosing to run. Take your cell phone and use it to notify your administrators or 911 of your location. Remain where you are, as long as it is safe to do so, until you are contacted by someone from the district or law enforcement. Fight. Only consider this option as a last resort. When your life or the lives of others are in danger, it may be necessary to take action. Always remember that common objects may be used to delay, distract, or detain the attacker. If you choose to act, do so aggressively and without hesitation. Now, some reminders. Doors that are secured throughout a school day are to remain closed and locked unless a staff member is directly monitoring the door. When we leave our doors unlocked, our students and fellow staff members could be in danger. Let's not give anyone free access to our buildings and potentially put ourselves or others at risk. I don't think anyone wants to be the person that leaves a door open and their actions result in one of their colleagues or a student getting hurt. When we perform drills, I ask that you take them seriously and practice the processes correctly. When we choose to take a complacent approach to our drills, we potentially create habits that will reveal themselves in the event of a true emergency. We should always practice as we want to perform. Lastly, our green and red cards are our primary method of communication to responding law enforcement officers. Please ensure that you are placing the appropriate card both under your hallway door and in your exterior window if you have one. Green will indicate that everything within your room or workspace is okay, and red will indicate that a situation in your area is in need of attention as soon as first responders can get there. The next portion of our training is a video that was produced by the FBI. It is designed to specifically address circumstances faced within schools. While schools remain statistically one of the safest places to be, we still need to consider our responses, prepare ourselves for the possibilities. I appreciate all you do to keep our students, your colleagues, and our facilities safe. Always remember that if you see something suspicious, odd, or out of place, say something. Thank you.
I really think the zoo lab program is going to be a popular field trip for the 7th graders.
And it will get them out of their seats and up on their feet for about 5 hours. What are the dates again?
March 3rd and 4th.
Okay, let's put it on the calendar. See you later.
Principal Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Can we chat after school about the science fair?
Sure, no problem.
Great, thanks.
Have a great day. I gotta tell you, Monique, aquarium, museum, art gallery, and now zoo lab. You've only been librarian for 1 year, and you've already planned 4 field trips. No wonder the kids love you.
I had no idea reading to earn field trips would be such a big hit.
That was a great idea.
Thanks.
Emma, Mara, you two better hustle.
Those are gunshots.
This way, everyone! Lead the kids to the rally point outside. You know the spot?
I do. Come on, kids. Come on. Come on.
The run in run, hide, fight means to evacuate quickly and safely in a direction away from the attacker. Keep your empty hands up and follow all instructions by the police. And keep moving until you're sure you're at a safe location. Come on, guys. Everything's gonna be fine. Hands up. Hands up.
In here. He's coming this way. We need to lock the door, cover the window, and barricade it.
Kids, over here.
Our only exit is blocked by the attacker, but we have another option. The hide in run, hide, fight does not mean to get under desks and freeze. That makes an easy target for the attacker. Hide means to make sure the attacker cannot get to you or see you. Keep coming. Apply direct pressure to the wound to control the bleeding until we can get a tourniquet.
You'll be fine.
Silence your phones and voices, and have a plan to defend yourself.
Is there a back way out? No. The attacker's blocking the only escape route, and there's no good hiding places here. But we're not going to be victims. We'll fight if necessary to defend ourselves. If you control the weapon, you control the shooter. I'll go for the gun. Kate, you go for the arms. Alex, you go for the head.
Police! Police!
Over here! We got him! Okay, you called all the parents. Oh, excuse me.
Thank goodness.
Are your kids okay?
They're fine.
We're okay too.
The chances of having an active shooter incident at your school are extremely low. But there are things you can do to reduce the likelihood even more. Proper building security is critical, as is fostering a positive emotional environment and implementing prevention tools like see something, say something, and threat assessment teams. While doing all we can to prevent an attack, we must also be prepared for one. Before the school year began, we worked with local law enforcement to train our staff on the run, hide, fight decision-making tool. Wherever you go, be aware of alternate exits. If it is safe to do so, quickly and cautiously evacuate in a direction away from the attacker. Don't hesitate, seconds matter. Remember windows and emergency exits. Leave belongings behind. Keep empty hands raised and clearly visible. Follow all instructions from the police. Don't stop until you are sure you have reached a safe location. If there is no safe escape route, then find a good place to hide. Hiding means making it difficult for the shooter to see and get to you. Lock and barricade doors, cover windows, silence cell phones, and prepare a defense plan. Fight only as a last resort. Use available objects as improvised weapons. Use teamwork and surprise. A coordinated ambush can incapacitate an attacker. You're fighting for your life. Don't fight fair. If you're assisting someone who is wounded, it is critical to stop severe bleeding. A person can die of uncontrolled blood loss in 5 minutes or less, so those present need to act even before help arrives. Simply applying direct pressure can make a big difference. Tourniquets are devices that can stop bleeding completely if applied properly. Work with your local emergency medical services to ensure your staff is properly trained and prepared ahead of time. How do you prepare for the unthinkable? Start today. Contact your local law enforcement professionals and work together to create and practice an effective active shooter preparedness plan. For additional information on Run, Hide, Fight, and for information on how your school can implement prevention tools, visit fbi.gov/survive.
Should you have any questions or concerns, please contact your administrator, your SRO, or me directly. Thank you. So now that most of you have seen this at least twice, you know what? I'm not gonna go there first. One thing, if I've said this to you before, if you've been with me and been in one of my presentations before, you may have heard this, but I think it bears repeating, and it's something that is important for each and every one of you to consider. Often the question comes up, well, what should I do if this? What should I do if that? And while I can answer most of your what if questions, and there are times when I've given these presentations and I will actually challenge the audience, you come up with a what if question, and if I can't answer it, I'll buy you a coffee. I've been doing it long enough that I've heard most of the what if questions. Most of them I can answer without hesitation. But here's the deal. There are so many what ifs, that's not what we need to focus on. What you need to focus on is knowing who you are and knowing how you are going to respond in a crisis. If you've never been in a situation where your true mettle and grit has been tested and you don't know how you're going to respond, you don't know if you're a flight, fight, freeze, fawn person. You have no idea. So when there are times I give this presentation and I'll tell people, hey, there may be a time somebody could break in and you may need to consider the fight option. You may have to defend yourself. And I've literally had people break down crying and thinking, I can't do that. And here's the reality of it, that's fine. Because each and every one of us is a different person, and I don't know you and you don't know me. If you know you're not a fight person, then you have to make sure that you understand what your run and hide options are and have multiple of those options available to you no matter where you are in a building. I'm trying to decide if this war story is even appropriate. Whatever, I don't care. When I was traveling overseas to be deployed during Desert Storm, there was a group of guys, one of the squads within my company, and they were the most boisterous, obnoxious, those are words I can't use. They were the ones that spent their entire time going, if some expletive deleted, we're just gonna, that guy, you know what I'm talking about? The guy that thinks he's just the guy. There's a lot of words to describe that person. Most of them are inappropriate for this setting. So we get there, we get set up in our first place where we're staying, and back then, in the 1990, 1991, they had these Scud missiles were a thing, and you'd have a Scud alert that would go off, and when the alert went off, there were certain procedures you were supposed to follow to make sure that anyway. It was interesting to me because those guys, the ones that were walking around with all the machismo, all the look at me, look at me, look at me, they were the first ones that completely forgot what they were supposed to do, and literally half of them were laying on the ground crying because they didn't know what to do. So your machismo doesn't impress me, your boisterous doesn't, none of that. You can bluster all you want, none of that is important to me. You just need to know who you are and know what you're capable of. And that's all I'm asking. Right? Because if that option comes and you know you're not that person, then you know what? Let's run, let's hide, let's do what we have to do to keep the students that are in our charge safe. So there's that piece. Now I forgot where I was going with the other piece, and that's fine. But I want to make sure that all your questions are answered, because here's the deal. I can put these training videos out, whatever. I think they're entertaining, maybe they're not. I think they're informative, maybe they're not. I have no idea. But as you see situations when you are working with students in your settings, in your environments, there are questions that come up that maybe aren't answered in the training video. And I want you to be as fully equipped as you feel you need to be effective in your role with our students. Because I was telling Mike and Paul here over the last couple of days that when I started this job 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it's been, there was not nearly as much summer programming as there is now. And I probably could have taken the entire month of June off and been perfectly fine. Come back July 5 after the 4th holiday, right? And just hit the ground running and get my stuff up and ready to go for fall. Well, now there are enough summer programming sites and enough stuff going on, I can't do that anymore. But if you're equipped, if you feel like you can handle the things that are presented to you, the things that confront you in your settings, then you don't have to call me. It's okay. I'm not saying you can call me anytime. I'm not worried about that. That's my whole job, but that's fine. I'm just saying the more equipped you feel, then the less work I have to do. And it is, after all about me not having to do a lot of work. I was just texting a buddy of mine. He does this job at Sioux Falls Christian, and I've known him for decades now. And we were both talking about, yeah, we're just ready for this school year to be done. Literally the last 5 weeks, it's been nothing. I mean, hit the ground running at 7 o'clock, and I don't get done until 5:30. I get home, I look at my wife, and it's like, no capacity, no talkie. I'm done talking to people. I'm done. But we're almost there. It's got a week left. So what questions do you have? Anything? If you're thinking it, someone else is thinking it too, so ask. Really, you know everything you need to know. Okay, well, when I retire, you can do this job. Nothing? They're not a very inquisitive group.
They're not a very inquisitive group. Not tonight especially.
You know what? I'm trying to put all the energy I have into this because I'm tired like you are. It's late. I'm ready to go home. I got to get up early. It's bad. Okay, here's the deal. If questions do come up, if you hit the ground running this summer and you're like, man, I know he told us to ask questions, but I didn't have a question right then because my brain was fried, it's cool, I get it. If something does come up, you feel free to reach out to Mike. He knows where to find me. You can reach out to me directly. That's great. I try to answer as quickly as possible because I hate those people that leave emails sitting in their inboxes for 5 days and don't answer people. Not that I know people like that, but I do. So yeah, if you have something, reach out. I appreciate what you do. Have a great summer. Enjoy it. Keep our kids safe. And thank you for being here and everything you do. I appreciate you.
All right, everyone, there is a training folder that you guys will have access to on the agenda that some of you picked up. I emailed that out. I'll email a summary email with everything and video links from tonight. There is a link to this folder. And in this folder, there is policies, there's the agenda. There's also this employee emergency guide brochure. If you guys at your site or in your group or your classroom want to have a copy of that, it is here. It is accessible to everyone to be able to print. On there is some of the stuff that Dave covered. Let me show you guys. So there is the run, fight, hide. There's also Dave's contact information there. Should you guys have any questions as you get into summer, if there's specific questions that come up, if you're site leadership, and as you start looking through information and your site and the layout, and there's security questions that come up, please feel free to reach out to either myself or Dave. Like I say, this document you guys will all have access to be able to print if necessary. So if there's not any other questions, we will go ahead and move on. All right, the next, and many of you have probably already seen this too. This is the Sioux Falls School District policy video, for the 25-26 school year. The reason I show this, it is again about a 15-minute video, but there are some district policies that even if you are not district staff, can affect you by using the buildings. Sioux Falls School District is a tobacco-free school, tobacco-free grounds on all school grounds. So being aware of that, there's some stuff, a lot of you will have access to either Sioux Falls School District laptops and devices to print, make copies, send emails. Some of you may be bringing in devices from your agency to use for emails and stuff like that, so you'll have access to the Sioux Falls School District network. There's some information on there. So I give you guys a chance to watch this 15-minute video just to make you aware of some of those policies.
Welcome to the new school year. I'm Brett Arntz, the district's in-house counsel. Today we'll spend some time going over a few of our policies and regulations. Policies are written statements which express the will and intent of the school board. These policies have the force of law and guide us in the day-to-day administration of the district. Regulations are directions developed to put the policies into practice. All of our policies are available on the district's website, and I encourage you to review them. School district employees hold a position of public trust. You are expected to serve as examples and role models to students, both in the school building and out in the community. All staff should be familiar with the Employee Code of Conduct policy. This policy recognizes an unwavering commitment to a positive work environment and expresses an expectation of honorable and ethical behavior for all employees. We expect the highest standards of honesty, integrity, and fairness to be exhibited by each employee when engaging in any activity involving the district and its students. Here are some key requirements. Treat students, parents, coworkers, and community members with dignity and respect. Promote a safe, nurturing, and positive school and work environment. Maintain confidentiality concerning students, families, and fellow employees. Model and promote appropriate dress and language. Abstain from unethical conduct. Unethical conduct includes recording others without their knowledge and deliberately falsifying information. If you believe a coworker has engaged in conduct which violates this policy, you shall immediately report the alleged misconduct to his or her supervisor or to the Human Resources Department. Through this policy, staff are on notice of the expected conduct. Violations shall be considered just cause for discipline, up to and including termination. Discrimination and harassments are examples of prohibited conduct. The board recognizes a commitment to providing an equal opportunity and non-discrimination to all. Discrimination is prohibited in policies, employment practices, programs, and activities. Discrimination is a wrongful act based upon someone's status within a protected category. Examples of discriminatory acts include racial, sexual, or other types of slurs, insults, intimidation, harassment, or other such conduct directed towards another person. Harassment is one form of discrimination. Employees are prohibited from harassing students, other employees, or visitors. This policy applies when the harassing conduct or communication disparages the victim because they fall within one of the protected categories. Harassment consists of physical or verbal conduct related to a person's protected class that is so severe or pervasive and objectively offensive that it creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive working environment. Harassment also occurs when the offensive conduct substantially or unreasonably interferes with an individual's work performance, which deprives the staff member access to employment opportunities. Sexual harassment is only one form of harassment consisting of any unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, contact or communication of a sexual nature. If you believe you are the victim of discrimination or harassment, report the incident to your supervisor or the civil rights officer. Document your concern on a complaint investigation form available in the school office, instructional planning center, or on the district website. Once a complaint investigation form is received, there will be an investigation. The policy provides an appeal process if any of the parties to the complaint are not satisfied with the results of the investigation. Retaliation against any individual who reports a claim or any individual who is asked to participate in an investigation is strictly prohibited. The anti-retaliation provision is a key element of an effective non-discrimination policy. All staff, students, and members of the public must feel safe to come forward and report alleged discrimination so that the situation can be investigated. The non-discrimination policy also provides access to individuals with disabilities. Accommodations may be necessary for staff, students, parents, and members of the community to access programs or activities. Staff are expected to let an administrator know of any necessary work-related accommodations. The district is committed to providing a school environment that promotes the safety of students, employees, and visitors. We are all responsible for building safety. This includes the requirement to display your ID card at all times, to secure your ID card and any keys from theft, and to ensure that doors are secured when entering or leaving during after-hour use. The district provides technology resources to students and staff for educational and administrative purposes. Persons using district technology resources, including the district network, shall have no expectation of privacy or confidentiality, regardless of whether the equipment used is personal or district provided. At any time, the district may review the subject, content, and appropriateness of electronic communications. Any email account issued by the district is property of the district. Students and staff have no expectation of privacy or confidentiality in the content of electronic communications sent from or to that email address. District email and other technology resources shall not be used for your own personal gain. All content and communication must be appropriate for work and related to your job activities. You are responsible for all use of district technology resources under your account. If you suspect there has been unauthorized use of your account, immediately notify the district. Sharing of passwords is prohibited by district policy. For those of you using technology with students, a few things to remember. The content must be educationally appropriate. You are responsible to know how a web service uses personal information. Do not share student personal information with outside parties without parental consent. Student use should be supervised and monitored. All staff are required to distinguish between personal social networking sites and professional social networking sites. Except for relatives, staff shall not invite or accept current district students into any personal social networking sites. When interacting with fellow employees, students, or parents, do not include in electronic communication anything that would not be acceptable in a face-to-face conversation. Make sure your communication remains professional both in content and in appearance. Disciplinary action may be taken when communication constitutes a threat, causes substantial disruption to the educational environment, or substantially interfere with another's rights. The search policy gives employees advance notice that personal property may be confiscated and detained if an administrator has reasonable suspicion the employee is in possession of unauthorized items, such as a weapon or illegal substance. Further, if the employee gives permission, personal property may be searched by an administrator. Examples of reasonable suspicion include a pattern of abnormal or erratic behavior, direct observation, or information from a reliable or credible source with personal knowledge. This policy makes a distinction between personal property and district-owned property. If there is a reasonable suspicion, an administrator may take possession of employees' personal property. The search will be conducted by law enforcement unless the employee provides written authorization for the administrator to conduct the search. Such a search would then be performed in front of an adult witness, and the employee has the right to association representation. With district-owned property, keep in mind that employees have no expectation of privacy or confidentiality. District-owned property includes buildings, parking lots, offices, desks, instruments, storage containers, storage areas, lockers, computer systems and equipment, voicemail, electronic devices, and vehicles. If reasonable suspicion gives cause for a vehicle to be searched, whenever possible, the employee shall be informed of the search, and the employee has the right to association representation. However, emergency situations may necessitate a search without the employee's knowledge or representation. All searches shall be conducted in the presence of another adult witness. Any search or seizure by law enforcement officials will occur only when the law enforcement officials properly advise an administrator and provide documentation of the lawful authority to conduct the search or seizure. Part of maintaining a safe environment is restricting student access to your personal medications. For this reason, staff should bring only enough medication for one day and secure such medication away from students at all times. Medications include all over-the-counter, non-prescription medications and all chemical homeopathic substances and compounds, including but not limited to natural remedies, herbs and vitamins, which purport to aid in a person's health or well-being or to treat illness or disease. As mentioned previously, the unlawful possession of controlled substances is strictly prohibited. Staff health concerns or accommodations beyond basic medication self-administration should be referred to Human Resources for a determination of medically necessary workplace accommodations. The Sioux Falls School District is also tobacco-free. Smoking and use of tobacco products is prohibited on district property. Use of vaping or e-smoking products is also prohibited. Staff gifts and solicitations. You cannot accept gifts or favors that might appear to influence professional decisions or actions. You may accept simple remembrances expressive of student gratitude from students, parents, or parent groups. All gifts exceeding $50 must be reported to the business manager, and a written record will be kept. Public gifts and donations. Donations received by employees from any source and of any kind are subject to district policy when an applicant is required to be an employee of the school district, an employee solicits donations for a school or classroom, or when an applicant uses the school or district's name. In such cases, the donation application must be pre-approved by a building principal or program administrator. If you are considering soliciting donations, please consult your supervisor and review Regulation KCDR for guidelines on acceptable gifts. Reporting child abuse. Any staff member who has knowledge of or has reason to suspect child abuse or neglect shall report this immediately to the principal or program supervisor. Abuse and neglect is defined by state law and includes a child who is abandoned or subject to mistreatment or abuse by an adult, a child who lacks proper parental care, when an environment is injurious to the child's welfare, or when a child is threatened with or sustained emotional or physical harm. Your responsibility is to report immediately to your administrator. It is the administrator's duty to make this report to the Department of Social Services or law enforcement. We then leave the investigation of suspected abuse to the Department of Social Services. You must follow up your communication by completing the Report of Child Abuse and Neglect form, which is then kept on file in the principal's office. It is important to note that mandatory reporters are immune from liability when they make a report in good faith. On the other end, knowing and intentionally failing to make a report is a Class 1 misdemeanor. Therefore, if you do not know if something warrants a report, err on the side of caution and make the report. The use of physical force will not be used to discipline students. The use of prone restraint and seclusion are also specifically prohibited. Other physical interventions that are reasonable and necessary for supervisory control over students may be used only as a last resort and shall not be used when less restrictive interventions can successfully maintain the safety of all persons involved in the incident. Physical intervention involves the use of safe and unharmful control and restraint of a student and shall end as soon as the dangerous behavior ends or when a medical condition places the student at risk of harm. Staff members likely to use physical interventions shall be trained in proper crisis prevention and restraint techniques and procedures on an annual basis. Anytime physical force is used with a student, a staff member must submit a written report to the principal or program administrator. Parents must be notified by the end of the day, and the completed form must be filed with the superintendent. Following these procedures are for the protection of both the staff member and the student. Our student records policy and FERPA govern the district's handling of student information. The general rule is, absent parental consent, student records may not be disclosed. Student records are only shared with employees who have a legitimate educational interest in the information. District employees are expected to keep student information confidential. The district has identified certain information that can be released without parental consent, either for use in school publications or released for parent contact lists or public requests. This information is limited to general information about a student, such as name, address, and grade level, and parents may still opt out of sharing this information. Student pictures or images should not be shared without the proper consent. That concludes the policy review for the year. Again, the district's policies and regulations are available on the district's website. You are responsible for knowing and following all applicable district.
I know how riveting that video was. Some of you have seen this many, many times. Just a couple things to touch base on about that. So each of your agencies has their own child abuse and neglect reporting policy. Because they are licensed, you guys are licensed facilities, you would follow your licensed child care policy, not the district's policy. So make sure if you have questions or concerns relating to child abuse or neglect that you're talking to your agencies about their proper procedure. The other policy I wanted to just touch base on is the corporal punishment policy. Your agencies also should have a policy on that, whether it is something you as staff of either the YMCA, Volunteers of America, or Boys and Girls Club are able to do or not, whether you have to have specific training or not. If your agency does allow that, and if that is something during the summer that you are trained to do and you do have to use during the summer, There is a document that the district does ask us to fill out because it's going on in a Sioux Falls School District facility. Leadership staff on site will have access to that form. It is a Google form that they fill out. It goes, a copy is emailed back to the leadership staff who fills it out, and then that goes directly to the district. A copy of that can then be sent either to myself or our IPC team, and then a copy can be given to your agency if you guys need documentation of that. The other thing I wanted to talk about as we go back just real quick relating to security. Dave talked a lot about understanding our role, understanding how you feel with comfort of some of those things. There are also a lot of things that we can do as staff to help with the security of our schools. Making sure you are not letting parents in who don't have badges unless you have identification. Make sure you're IDing parents. They may be able to get in, but if you don't know who you're sending those kids with, that can also be a security issue. So make sure early on, I don't know what your agencies have in place for policies during the beginning part of the summer. One of the things I would recommend is putting a sign up or sending information out, talking to parents at open house saying, hey, for the first couple weeks, please make sure you have IDs, whether it's you, any authorized pickups. We have a lot of new staff. You're combining parents from a lot of different schools. So making sure that everyone is comfortable with those parents and you're IDing and sending kids with the proper people. So again, you may want to send out information to your parents, have information at open house. The other thing I wanted to talk about with security is signing out. Making sure that you guys are having parents or authorized pickup signing out. Number one, this is a liability thing, not only for you guys, but also for your agencies in the school district. If you guys as sites, if parents come in and they're busy and they forget to sign out, what that does is if you are the one signing out, you're the one who's saying, yes, Johnny went home with such and such a parent. So if something happens on the way home, we're the ones who signed out and we're the ones who become liable, okay? So making sure, the other thing that can happen, occasionally, not very often, our enrollment team gets subpoenaed during custody disputes. And they may get subpoenaed and have to pull who signed kids out for the last 6 months or the last year. What that does is some cases it's to show, dad says he picked up twice a week, okay? If you guys are the ones signing out, it doesn't show that dad picked up, so there's no proof of that. Same thing if mom needs that information. So we do occasionally get subpoenaed. Laura, our enrollment supervisor, also said this morning, she was in a meeting today about CCA. For CCA reimbursement, they do require those signatures of parents, or that parent sign out, not a staff sign out. We have, I think right now, it's about 200 and some kids that qualify for CCA in our after school and summer program. So make sure that you're having parents sign out so that information is getting recorded correctly and that we are documenting everything legally. All right, next thing we have, quick housekeeping thing. If you guys do need drinks or bathrooms, women's bathroom is right outside this door. Men's is out the door and just down the hall to your right. So feel free to get up and go if you need to. Next thing, Tera Breck, our enhancement specialist, is going to come up and talk to you guys for a little bit.
Okay, like Mike said, I help with some of the enhancements, so you guys might see me at your sites this summer. First thing I want to talk about is Summer Olympics. This is our third summer we're having our Summer Olympics. Second summer that will be out at the sports complex. Couldn't get the football fields this year since we pushed it a little bit later. Junior football already starts, but we do get a rugby field. So we'll be using the field house, the Pentagon, and then the rugby field is close. It's kind of across from the Pentagon versus the football fields that were across from the field house. I've got Boys and Girls Club sites in the morning and VOA sites in the afternoon, and then last week I pulled numbers for each site, and right now I have JFK in the AM and Hayward and Discovery in the PM. It gave me 610 students in the morning and 609 students in the PM, so I couldn't have worked it out any better. So I'm probably going to stick to that. I just haven't finalize that on any calendars. Haven't even said that to your management teams yet. In the field house, it'll be fairly similar to last year. We'll have a section for soccer. We'll have some minute to win it games, 9 square in there, and I kind of have an area that I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna put in there. I have football ideas, but Tristan with the Play Everything program, he's gonna put together some football rotations outside on the rugby field, so I might not do football again inside. In the Pentagon, it'll be the same as last year. We'll have pickleball, volleyball, basketball, bouncy house, and then our service learning project, which is for the 20th anniversary for Project Warm Up, so we'll have the kids tying fleece blankets. And then out on the rugby field, like I said, Tristan, with the Play Everything program, we'll be setting up different football stations out there, and staff may have to help out with some of those games if he doesn't have enough volunteers to run them. But I'll have more information on that later. Otherwise, I'm still figuring out all the finalized details with the games that staff can play if they want to. Last year, SBA was our GOATs of the summer, so we'll see what do we do for staff games this year and who can take the GOAT trophy for this summer. Next on the list was staff expectations. So I had one of our enhancement people reach out to me and actually wanted to come in and talk to you guys for just what they have for expectations of staff. And one of it was you guys helping out, which is already expected. And another thing was not being on your cell phones, which I have that expectation, and it kind of was upsetting hearing that from a program person. So figured this would be the perfect time to talk about expectations since I have most everybody in this room. When an enhancement program comes in, it is expected that you are still in charge of those students. They are just there to come do their activity. They don't have any behavior discipline training. They don't have, the tricks and stuff to keep the kids' attentions necessarily. So even if they're standing up here doing a presentation like Mike and I are doing tonight, it is still expected that you guys are keeping the kids under control, handling any of the concerns that may be happening and going on with the students, not sitting in the back of the room on your cell phones, completely not even paying attention to the kids. I've seen it myself when I've been out to sites, but I haven't said anything to anybody because I don't feel like that's my place to say necessarily. But when I have program leads that are pointing it out to me, then I feel like it's something that I need to address. So please just make sure that you are still doing what you're supposed to be doing and not sitting in the back of the room being the fly on the wall. They're still your responsibility. They're still under your care, even with an outside program coming in. And then the last thing, this is mostly for leadership, but before you leave tonight, I have a folder with enhancement forms in it. I tried to put as much together as I could today and all this week, but I don't have everything. If anything that is scheduled at your site, if I had the site information sheet complete, that's in there, even if it doesn't have a form that you need from the parents. Just to give you as much information as I could for dates, times, and what to expect for some of the programs, but I did not get everything completed. So some things you'll see in here is the information for the backpack program, bookmobile, Girl Scouts, Play Everything, a flyer for Avera Family Wellness, that'll be at a couple sites, Call to Freedom. Yeah, so just a handful of information of things that you can start collecting at open house. So before, whoever is the main person for enhancements at your sites, if you can come find me, I'll be back there when we're done. Come get your packet, and then if you have time to look through it and want to ask questions, you can. Otherwise, you know how to get a hold of me. Anybody have any questions before I give it back to Mike?
Hey, thanks, Tara.
That's true.